Mama's Stories is told by Asha Fenn. And please take it seriously. Mama always comes with all the content and trigger warnings possible. This is not for the meek or the timid. Thank you so much for your time.
When I first came on TikTok, I got some feedback that broke my heart a little, and I wasn't ready for it yet. But disability and inclination have made me a hermit for a lot of years. I didn't get to have children, and I had not realized how deeply things had changed since my childhood. So I realized the only way I can talk about this is to just tell stories of, I'm gonna call them the mom stories, mom, probably just mama. I'm gonna be as truthful as I can be, but my relationship with her was extremely complicated. She was biologically half black. The man who raised her, my grandfather, who I did love very deeply, it plays a huge part in their dynamic that he knows she's not his biological child. I wrote a book about this with the names and dates changed, so I didn't have to worry too much about relatives. Anyway, I start this video with this story. I started crying during a documentary about Alpha Kappa Alpha, the sorority, because my mother was, when she was growing up, if she had grown up in the black community, she would have been called high yellow. She could pass and did. It be part of what I want to talk about is in this weird way, because she was doing a performative whiteness. She became this kind of deeply, her convictions were deep. At my brother's wedding, she actually cried out in the middle of Mass, "Oh my God, how could both my children marry Catholics?" So she had her baggage. We'll talk about that too. But that kind of community that black women created through the sorority, but it's everywhere. I studied, my senior thesis was on the Restoration, so I was had studied the community. And it was like an ache, because, my mother was passing. We could not be part of the community. If you're passing, you can just get yourself beaten up a few times by being salty. I loved the woman. That's part of what I want to start with, this first one. I loved her so much. And yet I didn't speak to her for the last 18 years of her life. Well, I did speak to her, but she couldn't hear it because I was shouting at a picture and writing a book about it. It was excruciating to write that book, and no, I could have just called her and she would have written the chapters herself. Probably better than I would have, loudly enough that I could have just typed it down. But I couldn't have her in my life if I wanted to get to where I am right now. So this is the intro to Mama's Stories. I'm gonna do the next one on why the Alpha Kappa Alpha one made me so sad. It is nothing short of a miracle I did not lose focus while that first video uploaded. So Mama was born in 1939 in North Carolina, and her mother was white. In the book that I wrote, I represented all the multiple stories I have been told about that situation. And yes, people have told me I should actually go research and find out what the truth was. But honestly, having 7 different iterations was somewhat liberating as a child. You get to pick the one you want. Anyway, she was raised in a white community. She could pass. My grandmother had been married to a cousin who was a little swarthy. But everybody knew. Everybody knew. And Mama would talk about watching women in the black community and just the bond that they had with each other. She only ever had one friend, and her husband shot at us when he found out that Mama was half black. So, yeah. Now, and I can't speak, again, for the last 18 years of her life, for all I know. She got rid of a daughter and transformed into a saint. I don't know. But when I was in my 30s, turning 31, I met a woman named Fanny Jeffrey, who, if she is not passed, is immortal, so I shouldn't have said her name. But I talked to her one day. She also is mixed race. Looks as she could pass as easily as my mother. That was part of what made me glom like a little moth. Also, she was really a kind and gentle person, and I loved that. But she told me over and over that I couldn't, I had to understand my mother's pain at watching communities of black women help each other and bond with each other, and having to live a life forcibly outside of that. So as you get to know Mama, know that she would have also wept at that documentary, just knowing what she'd had lost.